Hey everyone, I'm Pete Dalliday, and welcome to another edition of Hometown PTBO, brought to you by TransCanada Nissan. We're excited to sort of be going on a bit of a road trip here today, and our guest is Peterborough native Gary Lawless, who's now the insider with the Vegas Golden Knights. Hello, Mr. Lawless. How you doing out west?
I'm great, Pete. How are you today?
Yeah, we're good. It's a little chillier here, but hopefully we'll be golfing soon. And I know you've been maybe hitting the links a little bit, but you just got back from Anaheim, and your hockey team's on a roll right now.
Yeah, they're playing pretty good. First overall in the NHL right now, and first in the West Division, but a real battle with the Colorado Avalanche right now. So we'll see what happens. It's been a crazy year, and excited to get the playoffs started and see where it all ends up.
Yeah, no question. Looking forward to it as well as a fan watching back here. But for the people that aren't aware of Gary Lawless and your roots here in Peterborough, you're born and raised here, and then of course your career took you off to other spots. But just tell us a little bit about growing up in Peterborough and what it meant to you.
Yeah, I was born at St. Joe's Hospital and grew up in the West End. First went to school went to kindergarten at St. Alphonsus because St. Teresa's didn't have a kindergarten. I think they might have a portable or something now, but back then they didn't. And I always tell this, I always enjoy this story. Dean Morton, who's a referee in the NHL, Dean lived right across the street from St. Alphonsus and knew every kid at that school. And we took a bus down, the kids from St. Teresa's. There was 4 or 5 of us had to take a bus down to St. Alphonsus. And we didn't know any of the kids there. And Dean was an excitable kid, and he punched me in the stomach like every day for the first 4 days of the week. And I can remember on like the Friday morning, or I was crying before I went to get on the bus, and my dad, Frank, who worked for Otis Elevator in Peterborough for a long time, some people might recognize him. He's like asking me what's going on, what's wrong? And I said, this guy, Dean Morton, this guy Dean keeps punching me. And my dad just kind of, and I think just not even thinking what he was saying, said, well, punch him before he can punch you. And so sure enough, that morning, I popped Morty right on the beak, and we've been friends ever since. But I just saw him actually here in Vegas, socially distanced, but we still text all the time. And he's and actually I was in Anaheim on the weekend, and Dallas Aikens, who's the coach of the Anaheim Ducks, and Dallas and I have remained really good friends. We go to my family, my wife and my daughter and his wife and 2 daughters. They're simpatico, so it's we usually vacation for a weekend or 2 every year in California or somewhere around this part of the world. So still lots of good connections from Peterborough in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, well, fast forward to your high school days. Who do we got some characters here, Gary?
Yeah, well, that's Mark Freer, who played for the Flyers and the Senators. Scott Mahoney, who was a draft pick of the Calgary Flames, played for the Oshawa Generals. Holmes and I, we went to grade school. We went to St. Teresa's together. Yeah. Right behind him is Kerry Huffman. I actually know I can name every person in that picture. That's Mike Lacey, Rob Adams, Mark Freer, Todd Bull, that's me in the center, Scott Mahoney, Kerry Huffman, Steve Mann behind, that's a guy named Steve Edgerton in the front, and Drew McBain. Boehner was a really good volleyball player at Crestwood. But those were I've got a K-Way jacket on. That's Craig Dunford. We played on the offensive line together at Crestwood. We had good teams. Adam Scott was really good, as you would remember, Pete. But Adam Scott won in grade 9 and 10. They won CASA. And then grade 11 and 12, I think this is grade 11. We won in 11 and 12. Andrew Astrom was our quarterback. One like the best, I won't say the best athlete in Peterborough in my time, because, you'd have Doug Evans and Jamie Batley and guys like that in the South End. But Andrew Astrom, no offense to Scott Wasson, the best athlete in the West End when I was growing up, but Wass wasn't far behind.
Yeah, no, you've named a lot of great athletes for sure from this town. And guys that are still living here. You went on to get into journalism, and you went to work with the Peterborough Examiner, and I think you even have your first article there, or one of them anyhow, from your days working with Ed Arnold.
I'll tilt this up for a minute there, and that right there, that is the story of, it's a funny story. Kerry Huffman was playing for the Quebec Nordiques, and my brother was in, well, no, he would have been done law school. He was practicing law in Toronto at that time. And my buddy Paul Pulver was in law school at McGill. That's how it worked. And Charlie May was going to school at Queen's. My brother picked me up, and this is like on an afternoon. Like he picked me up at noon. We drove to Kingston, picked up Charlie, met Paul in Montreal. Paul's dad, Paul's family, his father, Skip, one of my great mentors. He just passed away a year ago and a bit. He owned Pulver's clothing store, and Mrs. Pulver had Rogos. They were right there on George Street. And Mrs. Pulver, Carol Pulver, she's just a famous, not as well known as she should be, but one of the most successful women. She was the first woman to ever graduate from the hospital administration program in Canada. It was at the U of T. So she was the hospital administrator at St. Joe's and ran a clothing store on George Street. And later she was president of Hadassah, which is the International Jewish Women's organization. Just a high-powered woman and a wonderful lady. She would feed me Chinese food from Saiwu Garden every Sunday night. I'd have roast beef dinner at the Lawless house, the Irish house, and then slide up to the Jewish house for some Chinese on Sunday night. I didn't go hungry. Anyways, we went to the game, and Kerry Huffman was playing for the Quebec Nordiques. This is 1993, and the Nordiques had won the first two games in Quebec, and this was game 3. The Habs won in overtime. Remember, Hextall didn't like the call and went out after the referee at the end of the game. And then we immediately got in the car after the game and drove. Paul stayed in Montreal. We dropped Charlie off back in Kingston, and my brother and I made our way back to Peterborough and Toronto. And I had to go to work at the Examiner the next day. Ed Arnold gave me the green light to write the story, but he didn't give me a day off. Typical Ed.
Well, I probably saved a couple dollars there. So
I say that in the greatest respect.
Absolutely,
Ed Arnold gave me my first chance, and actually, I should tell this real fast. I was working at the Examiner. I did an internship, and then he gave me a 3-week contract to work on this fishing insert. And then when that was up, he said, I can hire you for the summer. And all the while, I was still looking for full-time work. And I got offered a job in Thunder Bay at the Thunder Bay Chronicle Journal. And they were both owned by Thompson. And Ed could have said no and not let me go. But what he did was, he said, give me a couple hours, because I went into his office in the morning and said, I just got offered this job in Thunder Bay. He said, give me till the end of the day. And he went to the publisher and said, I'd like to offer this kid a job. A hiring freeze was on. Anyways, at the end of the day, he offered me a job and gave me the weekend to think about it. And I chose, Mike Davies was writing about the Pete's for the Examiner. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports writer. And the Pete's was the best gig in Peterborough. And I didn't think I was going to be able to push Mike out of the way. So I decided to go somewhere else. And I went to Thunder Bay, and they had junior hockey, semi-pro hockey, whole bunch of good stuff. And I was there for a few years. It was pretty good.
Yeah, well, probably a good decision for a lot of reasons. Mike's still there, doing that job. If you had been waiting, you would be still waiting. Just quickly, we got a couple minutes left, Gary. I want to talk about your lifestyle out there and just the opportunities it's brought you, because I know you value those and you really appreciate what hockey is given to you.
Yeah, well, I had a great job in Winnipeg. I was working for TSN doing a lot of I was their insider on CFL and was growing my portfolio on the NHL side as well. And George McPhee phoned me and offered me the opportunity to come to Vegas and join the Golden Knights. And my wife and daughter, who are both born in Winnipeg, they agreed to come along for the ride, and you can see how lucky I am right there. I won the lottery twice.
I'm not going to say you overachieved, but
I did big time. Yeah. And so we've been here 4 years and have met a great group of friends, a lot of Canadians. Shane Knighty was in Winnipeg with me. He came along. Dan Duva is our radio guy. Dave Gosher, a longtime voice of the Boston Bruins, came along, and the four of us have made a pretty good broadcast team. We've since hired Darren Millard, who's our TV host, and so I get to do radio and television and a little bit of writing here, and it's been a great fit. Actually, I talked about the Pulvers. That's Eli Pulver, Paul Pulver's son. That's in the booth in Vancouver. Eli's a really good goalie, just about to join, I think, Surrey in the BCHL. And
cool.
So his father, Paul, is still one of my best friends, and I'm still in contact with Paul Day, who lacrosse fans in Vegas know. Paul and I talk on the phone at least once a week and text all the time. Mike Morrissey, Kerry Huffman, Dallas Aikens, Paul Pulver, all that group, and then I've got all my Crestwood buddies that I'm still connected with too.
Which is great. And I know that a lot of them have come out and visited you. You're a great host. Before we go, I do want to see that Emmy because you've been nominated for 2 more. So
you can't say that. No. I don't want to do
that. Well, congratulations anyway. I mean,
it was pretty fantastic to be able to share in that with a great broadcast team here. Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to win a Grey Cup. I have a Grey Cup ring from my time at the Toronto Argos, and I want to match that with the Stanley Cup ring. And we're all hoping that this is the year. We got a pretty good team. No one from Peterborough on our team, which is kind of rare in hockey. And I think I'm the only one in the organization from Peterborough. We got a ton of Manitobans, and I'm connected obviously from 18 years in Winnipeg.
Well, you're there, and that's all that really matters. And hopefully, we do get some players there down the road. I'm sure you'll be a big part of that for years to come. Mr. Lawless, Gary, thanks very much. Appreciate it. You do Peterborough very proud with the work you do, and we can do a whole other segment another time on your trips to the Olympics and the football and all that. But we appreciate your time, and we'll let you get back to work. And good luck the rest of the way. We hope to see you back here with the Stanley Cup.
You bet. I'll just say hi to my mom and dad who are still in Peterborough, and to my brother Peter and his family, and of course my wonderful sister who's dedicated her life to giving back to Peterborough, first with the new Canadian Center and now at the hospitals.
Yes.
She's the real hero in our family.
Carol does a great job, and a former waitress at the Pigs here, I believe, too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
She might have spilt a few trays over the years, that's for sure.
All right. Thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, that's Gary Lawless, insider with the Vegas Golden Knights, Peterborough native, and a great guy. We appreciate his time. You've been watching Hometown PTBO, brought to you by TransCanada Nissan.